formal practice, and we adopt specific posture. We try to create the most conducive external environment, creating the conditions for right effort. Externally, the lack of noise and commotion is very helpful. Weather, especially in the mornings, not too hot, too cold. But it's our immediate environment which has the most effect on our practice, and by that I mean our bodies and the posture in which we meditate. And we apply our powers of observation. You can see that the way that we cross our legs, the way we place our hands, doesn't have a great impact on our ability to sustain mindfulness on our object. Nevertheless, it's clear that when the body has a firm triangular base, then it's easier to maintain a stable posture. And generally speaking, if the hips are higher than the knees, then the posture will be stable and support a straight back and posture. The hands can be placed in the lap, or the hands on the knees. And one skillful means, when the hands are in the lap, are to have the thumbs slightly touching. And the value of this is that if mindfulness starts to falter, weaken, then generally the thumbs will fall apart. And so it's an indication, like an early warning, that the mindfulness is becoming weaker, and try to apply a little bit more effort. Sitting straight is probably the main point with posture, on a straight back, but which is not rigidly so. And our breathing is an indication here. If breathing is difficult and shallow, it tends to mean the back is too straight. Generally, if you try to stretch your back gently, so the coccyx, the tailbone is pushing down and the head is pushing slightly upwards or floating upwards. It's a very pleasant feeling with the head floating up towards the ceiling or being gently pulled towards the ceiling, and the coccyx being pulled down into the earth. So the body is spine is the connection between heaven and earth, straight but naturally so. So as you get older, there are aches and pains, and the body is not always a friend in the adopting a meditation posture. So adapt and work with the raw materials that you have. Most importantly, observe the relationship between your posture and your mindfulness. That's the indication. As I say, if you're becoming slumped and without a straight back, then dullness very easily sets in. And so one of the ways to prevent dullness is keep bringing attention back to the posture at regular intervals. You remember the first of the four kinds of right effort, preventing the arising of as yet unarisen, unwholesome mental states. So posture is definitely has a part to play in this. Generally, we sit with our eyes closed because by closing the eyes, we're closing our minds to a lot of potentially disturbing sense data coming in through the eyes. And when the eyes are open, it's the bridge to the external world is open, but the mind becomes strengthened by mindfulness. It will naturally turn its gaze inwards, but that is facilitated by keeping the eyes closed. However, it's not incorrect to open the eyes, especially if you are feeling dull, sleepy, casting a soft gaze, not staring, but a soft gaze on the floor in front of you, minimizing the amount of possible distractions through opening the eyes, but nevertheless having a more spacious kind of feeling can help to prevent the onset of dullness, or if dullness has already arisen, finding it very difficult to keep awake, then obviously opening the eyes somewhat will help to offset that. So we're going to be giving most attention to practice of mindfulness based upon, accompanied by the breath. But there are many ways of being mindful of the breath. And again, there are no necessarily right and wrong ways. In the Satipatthana text, the meditation text, and the Buddha talks about placing mindfulness. In the Pali word is parimukhang, and commentaries generally translate that word as in front of you, meaning in the area of the nostrils, and particularly the area between the nostrils and the upper lip. But other teachers will contend that the word used by the Buddha does not necessarily mean being aware of the breath at a particular point in the body, and they would understand that term parimukhang simply mean putting mindfulness to the fore, means making mindfulness your object, your interest, your commitment. And some teachers teach feeling the breath right throughout the body. Again, there is room for each meditator to experiment with this. Myself, I think that beginning a meditation by establishing a broader sense of the breath throughout the whole physical body is a good way of developing sense of contentment and ease and interest in the meditation, and then to zoom in, as it were, on a particular point area in the physical body. So this may be at that area between the nostrils and the upper lip, maybe on the upper lip itself, or maybe within the nostrils. The idea is you find that point at which the sensation of the breath is clear and comfortable. It's also possible to be aware of the breathing by focusing on sensation in the chest area or in the abdomen. Again, we can find the point which suits us best. Having said that, there's no one point which will make meditation easy, or it's not a shortcut, and don't get caught into doubts about whether you're focusing on the best possible point. Adopt one point and stay with it, at least for the duration of one meditation session. Don't switch during the meditation itself. In practicing this initial broad, more relaxed awareness of the breath throughout the body, I recommend dividing the body into 4 sections. The first consisting of the head, the face, the neck. Second, the area including the shoulders, the arms, the hands and fingers. The third area, the torso. And the fourth area, the body from the hips down to the toes. So begin by bringing attention to the breath together with the sensations that appear naturally within that first area of the body. So we're not trying to visualize the head or the face, simply bringing attention to sensations that are already there but which we generally pay no attention to. Just to scan the top of the head, the sides of the head, the forehead, the nose, the eyes, the cheeks, the ears, the nose, the nostrils, the mouth, the jaw. Just in a very light, friendly way. It's as if we're saying hello, checking in with this physical reality, sensations. So here the breath is more like a container for this awareness. As you breathe in, you're aware of all the sensations in that first area of the body which arise, which appear together with the breath, the in-breath, and then the sensations in the head, the face, the neck, which appear naturally together with the out-breath. So you may decide on a number of breaths to do that, let's say 5 breaths. And there's no fixed amount here, you might decide on 10 breaths. It's just a very pleasant way of greeting your body, the beginning of a meditation, the beginning of the new day. Now we turn our attention to the shoulders, the arms, the wrists, the hands, the fingers, with the container being the in-breath and the out-breath. The sensations that appear in this area as we breathe in, as we breathe out. And then the sensations in the torso, the chest area, the abdomen. You feel the heart beating, then the spine, back, the whole of the torso. So we're not trying to create any special feelings. Just breathing in, breathing out, being aware of whatever sensations arise as we breathe in, as we breathe out, in that area which we call the torso, the trunk of the body. So we're creating an interest and a connection with the breath. We're developing a contentment with the breath. We're developing our ability to observe phenomena without attachment, without like and dislike, developing the qualities of the observer by simply waking up to simple, mundane, everyday, normal sensations in the physical body as we breathe in, as we breathe out. And then lastly, we bring our attention to the fourth area of the body, the hips, the bottom, the thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet, toes, the whole of the lower part of the body. See immediately the difference between those parts of the body which are in contact with the floor, with the mat, and those which aren't. So as we breathe in, we allow ourselves to acknowledge we're present to whatever sensations appear, not looking for anything special. If there are sensations, there are sensations. There are not, there are not. You don't have to look for them or create them. So the breath is the container, it's the medium through which we experience this physical sensation. So now the fifth level is to be aware of the whole of the physical body. First section, the head, the face, the neck. Second section, shoulders, arms, hands, fingers, The third, the torso, the trunk of the body. The fourth, the hips, legs, feet and toes. So integrate those into a whole and simply breathe in and breathe out. Awake to whatever sensation may arise in whatever part of the body. Just observe how naturally pleasant it is to be aware of the body without distraction as you breathe in, as you breathe out. This body, this mind, as it's experienced, not as we visualize it, not as we see it in the mirror, without thoughts of like and dislike, just as a pattern, a flow of sensation, experienced as we breathe in, as we breathe out. So nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just experience what it is to be a sentient, breathing being, here and now. Now, one option is to continue with this broader zoom out mode. If you choose to do that and the mindfulness starts to weaken, then what you can do is to start to go through the sections again. So from this full body, breathing in, breathing out, general awareness, then be aware simply of the section, the fourth section, the lower body. And after 5 or 10 breaths, the torso, third area, and then the second area of shoulders, arms, hands and fingers, then the first area of head, face and neck, and then return to the integrated full body awareness of sensation as we breathe in, as we breathe out. So it's always seen within this frame, this container of the breath. Second option is, having established this basic mindfulness and interest and even enjoyment of the practice, then we zoom in And now we zoom into one particular point on the body, in the body. As I say, most meditators would prefer somewhere in the area around the tip of the nose, although within the nostrils is a very pleasant abiding, and if you tend to feel a little bit kind of stiff or constricted when you focus on the area between the end of the nose and the lips, then the attention within the nostril, it feels very broad, almost like walking into a huge cave, and very refreshing. But choose one particular point, and now you become the gatekeeper. Your job is simply to sustain mindfulness on that point. So the mindfulness has to be sustained for the whole duration of an in-breath and the whole duration of an out-breath, and to observe the short spaces between the in-breath and the out-breath. It can be helpful to give yourself some context by bringing to mind the fact that this was the meditation that the Lord Buddha himself preferred throughout his life, and that countless numbers of Buddhist practitioners have realized the Dhamma, having the mindfulness of breathing as their primary meditation technique. So having that sense of context and the importance and the significance of the practice, again, helps us to protect the mind against the arising of as yet unarisen, unwholesome mental states. So now you still have that zoom out option. If the mind is really resistant and refuses to stay with the breath at that point that you've chosen, and very strong agitation in the mind or dullness in the mind, then one remedy is to expand the awareness and go back to that full body awareness, or go through the 4 areas of the body before integrating into full body awareness. So the model here is a zoom in, zoom out model. For the samadhi to deepen, and usually we need to move to the zoom in mode. But in dealing with the initial hindrances, spending time in that zoom out mode can be very helpful.